Well, I finally got enough stuff through the mail to make a mailbag, so we're going to do this today. But note that this is probably the last one for a little while because the Canada Post strike has really delayed everything, especially international parcels. So I hope you enjoy this mailbag. First one up is this relatively big one. It says cable line here. I don't really know what this is. Let's have a look. These are a bunch of lightning cables. Let's take a closer look. So I had mentioned this in a previous video that I tend to order very cheap charge cables for my iPhone so I can keep them in various different places and so I don't have to care what happens to them. They're always reasonably good quality. They last about 6 months, sometimes up to a year, depends where I put them. And I pay like almost nothing for them. So these here, I think there was 10 of them and they cost me like $7. And I think there was an eBay discount at the time, so I don't even think I paid the full $7. But yeah, nothing too special here. They look very basic. They look very similar to the Apple type, but they're definitely not the Apple type. They're much stiffer. And I also need to buy these kinds because I have a waterproof case. And so I need this part here to be as narrow as possible to fit inside the opening for the charge cable. So I really like these things. I buy them, 10 at a time. And I only have to order them every few years because, I have 10. And even if you check one of my videos, I actually repair one of these that broke. And so I'll get even more use out of it. So nothing much to see here. We can safely move on. So next one up is this fairly large package for what seems like there's nothing inside. It says 10 pieces double-sided SMD, and I really hope these are the SMD adapters, the SOT23 to through hole. And indeed they are. And they don't feel like there's that many because I guess I forgot, they're absolutely tiny. Let's take a closer look. Indeed, these things are minuscule. They are absolutely tiny. There's the 10 pieces there. I think they do SOT23 and another size. I'm not sure. Let's take a look. So these were fairly expensive for, the size of them. They were $1 Canadian for 10 of these. And here we have 6 and 4, that's 10. And yeah, they're absolutely minuscule. So those are for those little SMD SOT23 transistors that I had ordered. And these will let me prototype with them in the breadboard. Right, you just put your pin headers through these holes and you solder on your SMD thing there. So that's pretty cool. I think I'm gonna try playing with these in another video where I actually prototype with them and characterize them possibly. So yeah, that's this $1 worth of tiny little boards. I wonder if I could actually have just designed these myself. But anyways, I've been waiting for these for quite a while, and I think they'll be a breath of fresh air compared to the way I was testing them before. So let's move on to the next one. Next one up is this package. I really don't know what this is because it says finding times WY123 times 2. I don't really know what the names typically stand for. Oh, okay, I know exactly what this is. Let's take a closer look. So what these are USB adapters. Oh, there's a Ziploc there, but I don't really need it. So it's a USB Type-C on one end, which is great. A lot of things have Type-C ports now. And on the other side, it's a USB, well, it's supposed to be USB 3, but I think that's actually USB 2. Not 100% sure, but I'll have to test it at some point. But it's a little adapter because my laptop has a USB-C port and only 2 USB 2.0 ports, or I guess they're 3.0 ports. I would actually need another standard USB port to power a HDMI to VGA connector adapter. And so this here is the solution to give myself one extra USB port. I ordered 2 of these. These were $1 a piece on eBay, and I think they'll work. We'll have to see. And I believe it's bi-directional. I don't think there's anything that says that I couldn't just plug a regular USB there and charge a USB-C cell phone. But yeah, I got 2 of these. They're pretty nice. I don't know if they're really metal or metallized plastic, but they look fairly good quality, and I did want something narrow here so it wouldn't interfere with the USB port that goes right next to this in my laptop. But yeah, I think this will look pretty nice. Got 2 of them just in case one doesn't work, or maybe even I can lend this or give this to somebody else in the same situation. But again, nothing much to see here. Kind of low quality mailbag type items, right? Well, let's see if there's more interesting stuff coming up. So next up are these 2, and I say these 2 because I'm almost 100% sure this and this are related. So this here says bicycle hardware and accessories bracket, and that's not at all what's in here. And on top of that, looks like a customs agency had already taken a look at what's inside here. But I'll take these out, and what these are, they are little crimp connectors for wires. And why is this related to this? Well, that's because if this here is what I think it is, it'll be most useful when paired with this. Survey says, oh yeah, absolutely. Let's take a closer look. So what these are ratcheting pliers to crimp connectors. And you'll notice that this one has the yellow, red, and blue markers on them. And that's because they are meant to take the insulated type spade connectors and what have you that are in these colors. The yellow is the smallest one, the red ones are medium, and the blue ones are the big ones, most of the time. And I got these guys here because they're really useful if you need to crimp 2 things together. I've seen these a lot in Chinese AC products, like things that plug into the wall on the inside. They're insulated and they just make a nice crimp. And I'm not sure if this tool is actually meant to handle these, but we can definitely give it a try. Now this is kind of expensive. This was $10 Canadian, and I actually have another one already. I have this guy here, and this is for the non-insulated connectors, but these are for like really small connectors. They have kind of a groove on the inside that bends little tabs in, so it actually crimps. Instead of crimping like this, it crimps kind of the 2 tabs inwards like that. I don't know if you understand what I mean. But these are fantastic. You definitely want the ratcheting kind, so that if it gets too tight, you can always switch your grip, keep going, and the only way to make it stop ratcheting is go all the way, and then it opens. And so this is just to add to my collection of those. Now, I say this is expensive, $10, and it doesn't sound expensive to you guys. It is for a Chinese product, so let's say if this vendor would have decided just to scam me and not send it, or if it would have got lost in the mail, etc., $10 is kind of a lot to lose like that. But on Amazon, I can get these locally, and they are like $30. And we're talking about Canadian, right? So it's a bit more expensive. So let me get a couple connectors. Let me see if I can round up some of those insulated connectors that these colors correspond to, some wire, and let's see how well these work. So I couldn't actually find any of those insulated terminals I was talking about. I have a bunch of them at work, but I guess that's more of an automotive thing. So you often see these connectors in automotive stuff. So let's just try to do a demo on what these guys will look like. So here I have some wire. I guess this is about, let's see if there's a 18 gauge. That's what it says on here. And these wires are actually from a old computer power supply. So pretty typical for a cheap power supply. They're just PVC jacketed. Just trying to strip the ends here. Maybe I should invest into a wire stripper. What do you guys think? Okay, so let's say these are the two ends of wires you want to join. You can just line up the insulation. Ouch, stabbed myself. Okay, twist them together, then you put this cap on. And I'm guessing this goes into the red. So just gonna face that up like that. Give that a squeeze. And there we go. Can't pull these apart ever again. And the insulation stays intact. There's no ruptures, there's no holes in these, so this here works perfectly for this. And that's why I love these little connectors, so I can make little quick connections, permanent connections obviously. I have spring blocks sort of like this here for temporary connections, and I have these guys now for permanent connections. It's nice if you don't have to heat up the soldering iron, or if you're in the field. These little crimps are actually really good. The colored crimps that like these, the color codes that these use, those crimps are actually a lot of automotive manufacturers are wanting all their connections crimped instead of soldered when it's repaired, because there's a lot less human error involved in a crimp than in a solder. If you solder wrong, you're actually increasing the resistance of the circuit. Whereas, a crimp, you line it up into the thing, there's still a little bit of human error, but as long as it's lined up into here, right size is used, you just squish it down all the way until the ratchet releases, you know that it's been crimped properly, and with enough pressure, you actually cold solder or cold weld the wires together. So, less room for error. That's why I like these things. They're quick, they're easy, make a zero resistance or, close to it, zero resistance connection. And yeah, add this to my collection of crimpers. And that means that these items mark the end of the mailbag. And so if you want to see more mailbag videos, I will try maybe ordering some stuff through Amazon. It's way more expensive, and I don't really have any monetization for this video. So if I need stuff, then I'll order it through Amazon, but stuff to just add to the collection, to do projects by sort of having an overview of what I already have here, yeah, that'll have to wait until probably after March. Thanks for watching.